How's it going, my fellow freedom fighters? Today we have a success story. Reggie, my freaking brother right here. And before you even see who this guy is, check out his results. And if you can see, not only was he able to make $30,000 a month in profit with no experience whatsoever, but he was able to scale it to $90,000 within a month. But this is what blew my mind, guys, all right? This is what is literally insane. The other day, I was scrolling down the Internet Lifestyle Academy Facebook group, which is a private Facebook group for like some of the awesomest entrepreneurs in the world right now. And I scrolled down and I see Reggie make a post, and I was literally floored, blown away, mind blasted when I saw that not only was he able to do that, but he actually passed the $100,000 in a month mark before the month was even over. So Reggie, are you freaking excited for today or what?
Dope, bro. I'm living it one day at a time, baby.
Awesome. So for those that don't know who Reggie is, he's an amazing dude, full-time father, full-time husband, full-time e-commerce person. He just recently, actually 6 months ago, was it 6 months ago you left your job?
6 months ago, yeah.
6 months ago, he left his six-figure job to go into this e-commerce unknown land that he didn't really have any experience with. He had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of failures and a lot of successes, but the biggest thing is no matter how many hardships he went through, he was able to overcome it because of his strong reason for his family. So really quick, people already see your results. They see that you are the guy that knows his stuff when it comes to e-commerce. Kind of tell us more about your personal life and maybe fill in a couple of the gaps that I failed to talk about.
No doubt. So just like Mike had mentioned, I met Mike probably June of 2016. No experience prior. I had just got into, learning about e-commerce, what e-commerce was, learning about what Shopify was, no experience. At that very event where I met Mike, I actually launched my first ad without no experience, and being walked through the process and actually being surrounded by, success at that event just really blew my mind. And I had came back home and told my wife, this is something I really want to do after, going through the weeks of, working 60-hour weeks at my, my 9 to 5, and actually just trying to make that work. But, obviously, there's another way of life that we're all trying to pursue, this freedom fast lane, this financial freedom. But obviously it takes work. It's not for the weak. It's definitely for those that continue to persist and work at it all day, every day. Imagine being at work all day and you're constantly checking your store to see if you got any sales. Imagine all day you're looking at product research at work. Imagine you're eating lunch and all you could think about is getting that first cha-ching. That's pretty much what was happening. And the more that I surround myself like people like Mike, the more that it was, I had to have it,
What not a lot of people understand is like, your success wasn't overnight, okay? Like for those that know who Reggie is, okay? This person was the guy in the Facebook groups asking questions, not really knowing what it was, didn't understand product research or niche selection or any of that. And it was pretty, like, that happened for like quite some time, right? Like just not knowing what you were doing.
I want to say like almost 8 months, like just like it was just crazy to think about. Like even though I went to my first mastermind group in June, I had courses the beginning of 2015 about e-commerce, and it just didn't click. And for me, just like Mike had mentioned, starting from not knowing what a Facebook pixel is, what Shopify is, what a Shopify theme, who's the target, what product selection. To where we are now, I think about the overall process. I'm on the 5th version of my current store, meaning that I have wiped it and started over 5 times with different niches, with different themes, with different products, with different people that we're targeting. And each time it was like taking another hit of, okay, I failed, I gotta try this again, or the loss of I didn't spend all this money and effort. I didn't get anywhere, and trying to overcome that process over and over and over and over again while asking the same questions, repeatedly until it finally clicked for me.
So what you guys don't understand with Reggie, with the successes that he went through, is there was so much times that he always wanted to quit, so many times that he was failing. And a lot of people, when they start off, they come in, they're like, oh, here's $5 Facebook ads, here's $5 Shopify, and they fail over and over again. And they're like, oh, it's not my fault that it's not working. It's everybody else's fault but me. What I wanted to know is how you were able to overcome it, because, man, you probably went through a lot of failure more than most people, right? Yet, why are you here with your results as opposed to other people who maybe had more money than you or whatever than you? Because, dude, you started from what was it, like 50,000 in debt or something?
Yeah, so my last partnership had failed, and it $52,000 after dealing with all types of issues with merchants account and fulfillment issues with suppliers, and having to return back all the funds to our customers. This particular venture, I started off on the other side of the other side of the 8 ball, and it was one of those scenarios where we knew, testing over and over again, something had to hit, putting ourselves further and further in debt, dealing with my wife saying, hey, I think we need to go back to work, dealing with, my in-laws telling me, hey, you're depleting your savings and I'm borrowing money from them. The one thing that really, helped me overcome that was my children, the why, right? So we talk about, everyone talks about what's your why? Well, guess what? In my case, my why was I knew I could not continue at the pace that I was working my career at the time, at the pace that I was going, and be successful 10 years from now. I was going through a burnout phase. Even as I turned in my resignation after just being promoted to a manager status at that position, I was being, called and trying to figure out what they can do better. But I had decided that if I go all in, and I give it not 100%, but 1,000%. That means 16, 18-hour days. That means, if I'm going to do a $5 ad, I'm going to do 55 ads every single day until something works. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do, because I know it's possible. I've seen it. I felt it. I've touched it. And, like they said, as long as you keep working at it every single day, something is going to happen. Mm-hmm. But you can't just, you just can't just sit there and just expect it to happen. You can't just allow your faith is important. So I had faith that I knew that where I was today, I'm going to be a better version of myself tomorrow, as long as I consistently keep trying day in and day out. And if I fail, let me fail as fast as possible and take what I learned from that failure and apply it for the next test. We look at, I was looking at it today. Before we got our first $1,000 day, we had created well over 200 campaigns at $5 each.
$5 each. You 200 to get the data for you to actually start succeeding. 200 campaigns.
200 campaigns.
Yeah, and that's like some were good, some were bad, some you made money.
Some were good, some were bad, some of them were profitable, some of them we scaled, some of them we tried all different advanced techniques. And when it all came down to, it all came down to these three things, or the 3 Ps I call it: having the right people with the right product with the right price. And testing the different campaigns was nice, but we started to call our customers, we started to ask questions, we started to engage and figure out, hey, what would you want to see better? What can we do better? Yeah. For our particular product, we have different versions of it in pieces on our site, where product A and product B really should go together, but you buy product 1 and then I'm trying to upsell you on product 2 and then I'm trying to upsell you on product 3, so you can have a complete set. And our customers' response, because we had tested over and over again and started to get sales, and we called them and engaged with them and text message them and email them and talk to them on Facebook private message. They all said, hey, we had the ability to just click one button and get all of it together. That would actually save us so much time. And doing that one thing, it has generated, just this month alone, $54,000 in sales.
Just that, and this is not counting like any other traffic sources.
Any other traffic source. Just, hey, listen, have this as one click option, had changed the game for us. So imagine, Yes, we did 200 campaigns at $5 clip. I have the credit card that we started the business on right here on my desk, $8,000 to $10,000 on debt on it, testing and trying and doing different things. And it just was insane to think about. But what I told myself was, if I keep trying, and I truly believe that I keep trying, no matter what, I'm going to make it.
100%.
Not just for me, but for my family. One day we were in dark times. A dark moment happened was when we started the store, which was around Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day, I did not have any money to buy my wife, who I've been with her for almost 14 years, okay, in a relationship, 7 years married at this point. I was unable to buy her a gift. I was unable to take her out. I was unable to splurge like I wanted to. I felt trapped. And I said, the only thing that is going to help us get out of this trap is if we go balls deep. We give it our all, and no matter what happens, we can say we tried it, we failed, and this was the outcome.
Yeah, because worst case scenario, you always had like a job to go back to, like at the end of the day, but you didn't want that, right? At the end of the day. You knew you wanted something more for your family, something bigger, something much better. And it's just a life more fulfilled spending it with the people you care about as opposed to your boss. And I think what separates you, other than that strong internal motivation that just motivates you when your body's telling you, yo, Reggie, quit. Yo, Reggie, don't get out of bed today, is that internal motivation. And I think what helped was when you started seeing numbers. Because if you look at his numbers right here, you could see that he started in February on Valentine's Day, and there was literally like not much sales at all. And it literally took him until June before you saw that big spike to over $10,000 in a single day. But what changed in that entire process was your ability in finding the right niche. So could you talk about like your process and how you found the niche from like starting off broad and like niching down? What was that process like?
So for me, already being in the game and have rebuilt my store over and over again, at one point I would spend days at a time just looking at other Shopify owner stores. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what niche I was going to go into, but I wanted to have a general idea of the top players in any game, in any niche, what they were doing with their store, how they were communicating with their customers, what was the overall experience that they were delivering, no matter if the product's a screwdriver or, a comb for your hair. What was the experience, and why would people buy that particular product on their website versus going to a store and picking it up themselves? Mm-hmm. So, for me, I would go over to Shopify apps, and I would literally look at the top ranking app, and I would literally just go down and look at every single store. And over time, I started, fall into an authority of different stores that I felt that I would, benefit the most based off of my past knowledge. So one of the things that someone has said, hey, if you're going to sell something or you're going to do something, make sure it's something you have experience in. So if I have no experience in selling baby clothes, but baby clothes are hot, and that's something I'm not passionate about, don't go and try to sell it. Can you sell it? Absolutely. But if it's not something that's going to be fulfilling to you, then don't go after it. For me, it was, okay, I'm very passionate about video games. Oh, I'm very passionate about reading books. Oh, I'm very passionate about, clothing. I'm very passionate about trendy different items. Let me focus on that area where I know that I could benefit the most from, because it keeps me engaged. Yeah. So with that in mind, that helped me start narrowing down niches. And like I said, my store has 5 different domains attached to it because I changed my store over and over and over again. That didn't work. That didn't work. My first item I sold when I met Mike was a bike seat. I wanted to sell bike seats. Yeah, woohoo! Special bike seat that were custom for, the person with a larger backside than a normal person, and promote it. And it was like I got my first sale while I was driving on the highway, and I almost crashed when I heard the cha-ching. And then 2 weeks later, I scrapped the entire store and went into apparel. And then 2 weeks later, I went into another product and another product. But it was constantly being engaged with the products that you're selecting. That is a process. Like right before you start even trying to find a product, Write down the things that you like. Write down the things that you purchase. Okay, write down, how difficult it is rank everything that you buy daily, monthly, or annually, and ask yourself, how often do you buy it? And then furthermore, start really diving into it, like, hey, could someone else benefit if they had it now, or this and third, and kind of getting those ideas flowing.
Yeah, because I know what you were telling me. What you actually did also in the beginning is to always get inspired and always stay engaged, like what you talked about. You literally, like, anything that didn't pertain to you growing or whatever, you unfollowed those people on Facebook and you just started liking all of the competitors' pages and stuff like that. Kind of describe like that process.
Yeah, so pretty much what happened was, after a while, after you start going to different stores, you notice that you start seeing their ads. And I didn't know what type of ads these were. I don't want to be advanced, but these are retargeting ads. And what retargeting ads is they want to recapture, your visit to obviously get that sale or potential sale or that potential lead. So what I started noticing was, for some of the stores that I was really interested in, those that were targeting me or retargeting me meant business about their service, which means that they were willing to spend money on setting up an ad to get me back into their funnel or get back into the sale to capture me. So with that being said, I focused on looking at their ad creatives. I focused on looking at their ad copy. I focused on the comments. Based off of whatever product I was focusing on, I looked at the reviews that people were talking about it, what the customer experience was. Furthermore, expanding on that was I would go in and I would sign up to their newsletters, and I would get their newsletters to see exactly what they're promoting on the newsletters. And so it pretty much helped me build what I wanted my site, my store, my brand to be structured off of, and then do it better. So instead of trying to constantly reinvent the wheel, I literally focused on those that are actually winning inside my particular niche. And then based off of how they're winning, what are they doing differently? And how do I get on that same level? If they're putting up 5 videos, I'm putting up 10. If they're sending out 2 emails a week, I'm putting out 4. What can I do better? If they have one particular product, but they don't have 2 products linked, I made sure all my products are linked together.
And it takes away like the guesswork from it, right? Because like a lot of people, they're like, oh, I have this great idea. But most of the time, those new ideas are just going to lose you money in the process, right? Like
loads. Imagine 50K. Imagine 50K. Just imagine 200 campaigns at $5 a clip. I'm talking about $10,000 of testing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's like, people are going to be like, oh, but Reggie had money. Reggie had savings. Guys, he literally had nothing. No job, no nothing. Just willpower.
No, willpower, a credit card with an $8,000 limit on it, and we literally just tested over and over again and invested and made it better.
Meaning, if you're starting at zero, like, you have no excuses. Like, he would have loved to start at zero, right? You had an $8,000 head start from this guy, for everyone that's watching. So that's freaking insane, dude. The fact that you were able to go through that, even though it looked so bleak, you kept on going forward. And just seeing how your business has grown, because I've been looking at your business for a while now, and it literally is just like, and I really think it's because of just how much you care about your customers. So what I really want to know is how you came from like the AliExpress side of your business, from like drop shipping, and what was the idea that made you switched over to US suppliers?
Right. So pretty much, I just like Mike had mentioned, our business started with AliExpress. My first 50 plus orders, I did this kind of 2 different ways. We knew right away that Shopify is focused on trying to give the customer a better experience from the time that they hit your site to the time that they actually purchase the product to the time they receive it. And so if you're drop shipping and it's taking more than 10 to 15 days to get the product to your customer, Shopify, they want to mitigate risk by holding some of the money that you're generating. So to alleviate that, I had to find a supplier that met the requirements of, hey, from the time that I pay you, I want my product to be received to my customer within 8 days. So on AliExpress, I would search for suppliers that also have a U.S. base here. But even though they say they have U.S. warehouses here, I had to physically order the product myself and see how long it took. Mm-hmm. And not just with my address, I did it with my family's address, because I wanted to make sure from different experiences, not just here in Connecticut, but New York, Georgia, Florida, California, how fast everyone is getting the particular product. And I was willing to spend that money to ensure that, hey, the packaging looked good. The product was the same quality across the board. It was packaged this way. It came from the same carrier every single time, mm-hmm. because I was very passionate about making sure that the customer experience stayed the same from the time that you enter from the time that you see my ad campaigns to the time that you click my links, from the time that you get to my store, from the time that you see the picture, from the time that you check out, to the time that you get the receipt, to the time that it gets to the door. I want to make sure that entire sales process is consistent. Mm-hmm. The communication in each process is consistent.
And how did you end up finding the right supplier? Because there's so many crappy suppliers out there. How did you go from the process of where to look to what you said? What was that like?
So that part is actually one of the hardest parts, but it all comes down to trying it out. I mean, for our particular product that we're winning with right now, we've had roughly anywhere between 10 to 15 vendors, that we tested. So we went to AliExpress. We looked at their diamond rating. That great. Everybody has 4 to 5 ratings. Then I went inside and I looked at their comments. And I would see not only with the comments, but one thing with AliExpress at the bottom, it actually would show you how many times customers are purchasing every day. So I'm seeing all the different transactions every single day. So I'm looking at transaction count. I'm looking at reviews. I'm looking at, when I reach out to their support, how good is their English? Okay, these are all the different things that I had to do from, before I even purchased the product, to, hey, I want to know a price sheet. I want to know, what the product looks like. Can you send me some samples? Mm-hmm. I went and did that over and over and over and over again with my requirements until I narrowed it down to about 4 of them. And then from there, it literally was a round robin where I would tell customers, I was willing to give customers a percentage off their product just for a reviewing the product to make sure the product's good.
And where did you find these vendors?
Yeah, so between AliExpress was one of them. I strongly still believe in eBay. As much as people, knock at eBay, if I have a particular product, I go over to eBay, I type that product in, and I say, search for this product within 100 miles from me. Mm-hmm. And if I find a local supplier that's within 100 miles from me, or it matches up, that's a good indication that not only is my supplier able to sell on AliExpress, but they're also on eBay. And then furthermore, some of them were also on Amazon, which means that for them to be on the Amazon level, they had to meet the requirements of Amazon. For them to be able to be on eBay, they had to meet some type of requirements with PayPal, which means that they have a set standard that I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. But you got to test, and you got to research, you got to email them, you got to see, even right now, before I jumped on a call with Mike, it's 11:53 here. My suppliers online, they're texting me right now, making sure that they're letting me know my products just shipped. They're sending me pictures of all my products as they're leaving the factory. I get pictures of it being packaged. I'm getting pictures of the entire shipment as it's leaving. I get my tracking numbers within 5 hours after purchasing it.
Damn,
so my virtual assistant.
That's
5 hours? They're about 5 hours. By 6 a.m., I have my tracking number every single day.
Dude, how did you get to the point where they literally looked at you like, man, this guy's the boss, man. I got to listen to him, because you start off with nothing, man. So how did, say for the beginner who's starting in AliExpress to find that winning product, and once they find that winning product, to go to eBay for U.S. supplier, how did you come at it with authority when you may have not had as much authority as you do now?
Right. Obviously, I'm not one to lie, but obviously, I would like to show stats. So when we started with this current supplier that we're with right now, they didn't take us as serious when we were on AliExpress.
Yeah.
They took us serious when I showed them we had our business license, meaning that we registered our business with our state, saying, hey, we will actually want to get an LLC, in our case, DBA, which Don't go to DBA, get an LLC, or get a corporation. Another story for another time.
Disclaimer:
And
consult
just
legal advisor, attorney.
and showing them that we're serious at what we're doing, and personally, when we started showing them, and we're consistently saying sales in every day, it got to the point where right now my supplier, he's selling our particular product at the lowest possible price, even though it costs him more to make it. He's willing to still give it to us at this price, at a different standard than everybody else, because he knows every single day he's getting sales from us.
What was like the message you sent them on eBay?
Yeah, so the initial message was the conversation I had with them, and I remember it. It was simply, hey, I'd like to talk to the manager or operator of the company, someone of authority. I'm interested in a long-term partnership. That was the words I used. I'm interested in a long-term partnership, especially with people overseas. They don't care about wholesale. They don't care about bulk. They care about the long-term relationship.
Yeah.
So I came at them with, hey, I'm looking for a partner that's willing to grow from where you are today into, a six-figure salary, business per month, and you being the fulfillment and drop shipper, and we're doing the marketing. Is that something you're interested in doing? Our particular supplier told us right away, yes, absolutely. And I said, well, for us to be able to continue to grow, we need a set price, and I'm going to ensure that I'm sending you a minimum of 100 orders a month. Is that fair enough? Because I had already at that particular point, we were already selling 10 to 15 items per day. So I was just like, okay, to go from 10 to 15 items per day to go into 2,500 orders as of right now.
In a month?
Yeah, in a month, 2,500.
You're not selling little products, man. You're like,
right. I'm like, listen, we're only giving you 5 to 10. What can we, just to give the math real quick. So to date, as of right now, it's 2,900 items that we have sold through this particular vendor. But before, we were just doing 10 items a day. And I said, listen, my minimum is I'm going to give you anywhere between 100 to 300 items that we're going to, buy every month from you. And they're like, hey, you know what? We're taking this guy serious. He's consistent. He follows our protocol. They never have to worry about payment. They come into money.
Yeah.
They get into the office. There's money already there. They already have their export of orders. They see that, hey, we're communicating with our customers. When there's a problem, we say, hey, we have a problem with the particular product. This is what we told the customer. What are your thoughts? You know what? Don't worry about it. We're going to send them another product on us. Don't worry about it.
You know what I think makes you probably one of the most badass entrepreneurs in the e-commerce space? And it's probably why we're going to do a lot of future interviews in the future, because everyone's going to be like, bring Reggie back. You know what it is? I really think it's because when everyone out there in the Shopify game, they're focused on the short-term gain. And what makes you different is you're focused on how long you could build this, because it's not just for you this week or next month. It's so that, your daughter, when they're both of age, that this can provide for their college, man. And I think that longevity that you have in this business of actually being serious, not just staying on AliExpress, but testing with AliExpress. It's fine to test with AliExpress, but when you find a winning product, do your due diligence and find the US supplier. I think that's what makes you different, because how you're setting everything up is literally for the long term, man. And it's really cool seeing your business. But the entrepreneur that you are right now, it wasn't always the case for everyone that's starting off, right? Reggie didn't pop out the womb talking about Shopify and Facebook pixels and negotiations, okay? He came out just like everyone else. So what I want to know is, before you were this entrepreneur, what was like the main thing that was holding you back from becoming the person you are today?
I think, honestly, my wife and I talked about it over lunch today. I think what was holding me back was security. Mm-hmm. The fact that I was just like, I was working my 9 to 5. I knew as long as I got up, I went, I did the necessary tests that was required, I was going to always get X. Yeah. I was going to get X results. And it wasn't until after I had met Mike at the last mastermind and I had partnered up with someone that gave me the knowledge and showed me the way and then, pretty much took my money and ran, okay? And having to lose it all, and the fear of losing my house, the fear of my 401k is being tapped and all my savings has been depleted, the fear of not being able to feed my family, the fear of having to turn to my past employer and say, hey, can you give me my job back? I tried it didn't work. That fear of failure is what motivated me and pushed me, and it was to the point where that fear kept me up. Why am I sleeping when there's work to do? Why am I'm not working on an email campaign? Why aren't I creating new products and, learning new skills? Like, I didn't learn Photoshop, and I was tired of waiting on a designer to actually create product images. Why am I waiting? I have the ability to learn. I have the ability to make it happen. What's holding me back is me. And the more that I was comfortable, the less the less it was interested to me. Having the courses from 2015, going to my first mastermind in 2016, having my first form of success in November of 2016, to lose it all in January, and then February having to regroup and band together and take on side jobs to have funds and loans and trying to just borrow money to be able to move forward, was more than enough drive from the fear of failure to say, I'm going all in. There's nothing I can't do. I'm going all in. If that means that I had to partner up with new people, if that means I had to offer a percentage, to show people could see my goal, I did that, because there was nothing at this particular point I was willing to do to ensure that my family is taken care of. I didn't care about making over $100,000 a month. Okay, I didn't care about I was like, if I made $100 a day, we're fine.
Yeah.
If I made $50 a day, we're fine. If I have one ad that I spend $10 and it gives me $50 back, I'm fine with that. Okay,
Yeah.
and dealing with, like Mike said, the long-term game of once we hit that $50 a day consistently, then let's do 100, let's do 1,000, let's do 5,000, let's do 10,000. There was points even during this journey that you see in the spikes where our merchant account said, hey, if you don't scale back, we're going to hold your money. So instead of keep going like this, I now have to turn it off and go like this. It happened this month.
You guys made too much money. They're like, yo, chill.
Too much.
Wait up.
Right.
Are you real?
It's one of those things where it's just like, what are you willing to do to ensure that you have what you necessarily need for tomorrow? Okay? I watched a skit of Will Smith, and I got to find it out. Maybe I'll send it to Mike, where he's like, I would go to the gym, and I would see someone running on the treadmill. And the guy would run as fast as possible. But his faith was so powerful that he's like, I don't care how fast you are running. I'm going to run at your intensity or faster until either I die or you quit.
Damn.
Those are the only options. And it kind of clicked for me, where I was like, it's better. I have life insurance, so it's better if I'm losing all, I guess death would be the best option for my family. That's the most extreme.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of, it's either I'm going to lose it all and I have exhausted all possibilities.
Yeah.
Or it's going to happen. Nothing else.
That's insane, dude. 100%. That's lit. So now I want to know, what was some of the best advice that has helped you on your entrepreneur journey? Just a one piece of tidbit of advice that may not have seemed like much to a lot of people, but for you, it just meant the world.
The one advice I think meant the world to me was when, I think it was February 6th, around that time, my daughter came home from school and she drew me this picture. Mm-hmm. And this picture is so powerful, I had to laminate it because she witnessed the arguments. She witnessed mommy and daddy fighting over bills. She witnessed how our lifestyle had changed from daddy working consistently to a job to daddy's now being more at home, but he's not happy, and mommy's crying. And she's like, Daddy, I dreamt that we found the pot of gold. found the pot of gold, Daddy. And this black dot right here is you holding your phone talking business. And that's you holding my baby sister. That's mommy holding me as I'm going into the gold. And I know that we're going to find the gold, Daddy. Can't you help me find the gold? And that advice had me in tears because I was in a deep depression where I was scared to make a move. I wasn't sure what to do. And I was just at my lowest point. But my daughter said, Daddy, I believe we can find that gold. And I know you're almost there. And it doesn't make a difference what's going on right now. I know tomorrow we'll be going to Disney World soon. That was her words. I know we'll be going to Disney World soon.
She knew exactly what she was worth. She was like, Dad, I know like we're not where we want to be, but we're not where we used to be, right? And it's crazy. How old is she?
She's 6.
Dude,
yeah, every sale she comes in, she looks at every single sale. Daddy, we got $59.95 just came in, $192 just came in. Every sale she's looking at.
Training her as an entrepreneur right away.
She's reading the customer service stuff. 6 years old, she's understanding that she has to put the work in.
Yeah,
you have to put the work in. I don't care what it is, ads. I don't care. You got to put the work in.
I think the
craziest thing that Mike built is dope. But if you don't apply and actually fail fast, okay, and try things, you're going to be waiting. And I was waiting for almost 2 years.
What I think is going to be really amazing to see is like your daughter's 6 years old. She's seen you go through the ups and downs. She's seen you at your lowest of lows and when you're at your highest of highs. And I don't know much about children. Like I said, I'm only 23 and a half years old. Hopefully I don't have any children anytime soon. Not that I'd keep it if I'd accidentally get one. Mom, if you're watching this, if you want to be a grandma, I got you, no worries. But what I think is crazy is she's gonna be developing her habits as a human being, as a successful person, literally by seeing her mom and her dad go through the struggles. And when those struggles came on, they literally saw, your 2 daughters literally saw that those problems, no matter how big they were, did not break you guys down. And I really think that's what's going to make them into such strong, independent-ass women when they're literally 9 years old, 10 years old. And that's exciting to see, entrepreneur parents and their kids going on. And what I really want to know, talking about that, is right now they're developing habits from you guys without you guys even knowing it, without them even knowing it. What is one habit that you think that you do on a daily basis that has differentiated you from someone who could have been where you are, but they ended up failing and went back to their job?
I think that one habit, every day we get up and we take a second to reflect on yesterday. Mm-hmm. What did we accomplish yesterday, and what did we not accomplish yesterday, and what are we going to do today to ensure that we are where we want to be tomorrow by putting in the necessary steps today. So if that means as simple as, hey, you know what? I've been getting up at 9 o'clock, but I noticed by 9 o'clock I already have, 15 customer emails I need to deal with, phone calls that have came in throughout the night. Maybe if I woke up 2 hours earlier. So
another question that I have is, what is one book that has helped you to get to where you are? If you met your six-year-old self and you're like, hey, little kid, you can't read yet, but when you do, read this book, what would that book be and why?
Yeah, it would be The Art of Delegation.
Yeah.
It's probably a less than a 200-page book. You guys should really get it. I forgot the author, but long story short, it talks about developing habits to delegate tasks at hand. Meaning that, hey, every day, I should be working on task 1, 2, 3 to ensure that I get to 4, 5, 6. Mm-hmm. And the only way I'm going to be able to get that particular pattern is, focusing on the necessary steps to get me there. Do everything. And so being able to delegate in the art of delegation, not just with you, but also to someone else, is going to help shape all the different tasks that has to be done with the store.
And actually give you the free time that you need, right? You can't, so many people, they work in their business, they leave their job to work in their business, but what's the point when you leave an 8-hour job to hire yourself for a 16-hour job. When you delegate, guys, and you actually hire a team, that's why I have a team of 8 to like do stuff for me so I can make these weird YouTube videos for you guys. It's literally by delegation. So that's one book you definitely recommend. Now, what I want to know is, this is going to be a deep question. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. What was the worst moment, the worst day in your entrepreneurial life? The worst day ever?
Okay, definitely. So I can remember it like it was yesterday. With my previous partnership, we had it was December 23rd. I had just spent the last month and a half marketing like crazy, pretty much giving my credit card up, just dropped $25,000 in advertisement. We had about $115,000 to $120,000 deposited in our Bank of America account. And I get a phone call from Chase telling us that they're no longer, our Chase merchant account, the people that actually process our credit cards, allow us to get payment, they're no longer working with us because of fulfillment issues. Now, I live in Connecticut. My partner lives in Detroit, and he's supposed to be handling fulfillment. I'm supposed to be handling marketing. And that's where everything kind of fell short. So that very after Christmas, the day after Christmas, December 26th, $30,000 was removed from my account. Then the next day, $15,000 until it was January 1st, and we were negative $50,000 in the bank. That was when I realized that I had hit a point where I thought we were on the train of the money train, and everything was good, and the trust and the faith, and I believed in someone, and it fell short. They pretty much closed up shop and ran off, and I'm stuck with the bill and having to deal with, I've never dealt with credit card companies and banks calling, saying that we owe them money, and having to deal with that stress and turn to my family and say, hey guys, we failed. That was the worst day of my e-com journey, and not just my e-com journey, but in my one of the worst days in my marriage at this particular point, because we were being tested on what do we do next. Mm-hmm. So I think that was the worst day, and that day lasted for about a month because there was no way I can pick myself up without the fear of now things are getting real, where the bank is threatening to sue me for everything that has happened if they don't get their money. My credit cards are now maxed out because I'm trying to use credit to pay for debts. It was an experience I don't wish on anyone, but it was a necessary part of the journey to push us to where we need to be.
Yeah, because
at that particular point, we had hit our version of rock bottom. Instead of saying there's only way to go up, we turned around and said, well, how deep does the rabbit hole go?
Mm-hmm. Damn, dude, that's really powerful, because most people at those times, like something happens and they're either gonna do one of two things. They're gonna ask themselves, how can we grow from this? Or they would ask themselves, why me? And the moment they say, why me, they play the victim. And when you play the victim, you can't get yourself out because it's like you don't have any control. But it's like, it seems like you asked yourself the right questions that allowed you to grow. And if you guys look at his screenshot so far from his business right here, you can see that it was in ups and ups and ups. There was like ups and downs, a lot of trials and tribulations. But as you can see right here around literally the end of June, something crazy happens where he's going from like $1,000 to $3,000 a day to the point where he's doing like upwards to $10,000 in a single day. So what I want to know, one of my last questions is, at that moment, something crazy happened. It might have been like a new perspective, a new something that didn't make sense before. What was that like aha moment that helped make that spike?
So I had to go back and look at it. So today, as of right now, $439,257 has been generated since we opened around Valentine's Day. And even though, like Mike says, what the spreadsheet shows, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, I can tell you what happened in June was we decided to stop being afraid. So even though we were doing $1,000 to $2,000 a day and we were comfortable, we decided to go in even further. So some people say, okay, you hit your version of rock bottom. Okay, the only way we can go is up. we kept going deeper and deeper. And what that translates to our store as well as our business was at that particular point, instead of doing, $5 ads or $10 ads, after already, working with the data, we switched objectives, we switched ad videos, we switched the product. We did all these things. And at that particular point, instead of saying, okay, we normally start off at $5, let's start off at $50.
Yeah.
Then after that $50, it went to $100. My wife is right behind me working on some of our customer service right now. She'll tell you that we went from spending, $1,000 a day on advertisement to $2,000 to $3,000 to almost $4,000 in a single day. And we were just like, you know what? If every $1,000 we're spending, we're making $2,000 to $3,000. What happens if we spend $3,000? And we don't care if we lose that $3,000. We're just gonna try it. And it literally perspective. It was like, okay, you spend more, you make more. Not necessarily, but in our particular niche, we saw the way the wave was changing, especially in June after everyone was complaining that Facebook algorithm just changed. Everyone was crying. And you see in my June,
it's just like,
okay, it was like low. There was days where every day we always made a sale, but we would have like one sale, and it was like, what are we gonna do? We were spending money on ads, not making money in June and in April, and it was like, what do? We rode the wave.
What's crazy at this time is I bet you when you made those sales, you were probably working just as hard as when you weren't making those sales. Right? The only difference is you identified what it is in your business that created the most results. So kind of talk about that 80-20 perspective when you first realized it, how you came about it, and you're like, damn, maybe I should try doing this. Kind of talk about that story.
So Mike had wrote up a PDF, and I think some of you guys, if you're on his subscribers list, you should download, check it out. But it talked about the 80-20 rule. I was sitting in a DMV trying to get my motorcycle registered. My wife had bought me a motorcycle back in December of last year, right before the whole e-commerce thing blew up with our last partnership, and I didn't even register it. I said, you know what, I'm not even going to look at this bike. It was a gift to me, and I can't even enjoy it because now I'm struggling to get us back to where we need to be. But I wanted to ride this bike. I spent the time, I spent the effort learning how to ride a bike, learning through classes, and I'm going to enjoy this bike. But besides the point, I was at that particular time, I was at the DMV and I was sitting in the DMV waiting, and I was frustrated because as you see with our sales were doing this roller coaster, and it was low for a while. And I had to ask myself, I had talked to Mike, I said, Mike, what's going on? He said, can you read this book for me? Tell me what you think. And, the book talked about the gentleman on the railroad, right? Thinking he has all this time, okay, of living. And that's the reason why, he's not going to live his life to the fullest. And I had to say to myself, okay, this entire time I've been focusing on, trying to build a better product and trying to build, a better experience. And, what is really driving our sales is me working every single day on driving that experience. The real reason people are buying, or is it just our ads are that amazing, and then Facebook does something stupid, and then the next day they're not amazing?
Yeah.
And when it turned out to be in that scenario, our customer experience of talking to our customers on Facebook, messaging them, text messaging them, emailing them, picking up the phone, is 20% of how we're able to. 20% of the effort of how we're able to make 80% of our sales.
100%.
So that's pretty much where it came down to, where it was like, okay, so as long as we're focusing on this area, even when it's low, we're going to constantly continue to generate sales.
And what blows my mind that month? In that screenshot that people see, it's like 132,000. But since you actually, 80-20'd it, you actually got it to the point where you're only spending $13,000. And guys, okay, so for most people that do e-commerce, I don't know if you know how big of a deal this is, but if you get a 3x ROI or return of investment in your ad spend, you are a pretty good business. Okay, Reggie did a 13 or like a 10x amount of his return of investment. So that's just how crazy like that entire thing is. And how he did that was the 80-20 rule. So guys, that was a freaking amazing interview for the 3 key points takeaway. If you haven't been listening, you haven't, you're crazy, but here it is number 1, make sure that you live in your niche. You want to like all the pages, you want to live in it, you want to go into their profiles and find out all of your ideal buyers. What are the pages they like? Make sure you do that, and you literally get stocked ads that you could imitate, that you could copy. Not really copy, but you can model and improve, like what Reggie did with his product, because he didn't do anything different, right? He found a product that was already selling, and he improved it. He made it better, a better customer experience. Number 2, you want to focus on the long-term business. So Reggie came in, he tested from AliExpress. He was like, okay, this works. Let's give him a better customer experience for the long term of it. Went to US suppliers, talked to eBay, got some people to really respect him when he didn't really have that much to show for it, and built that long-term relationship. And number 3, don't be afraid to lose money, man. You look at this guy, he's a man of faith. He's been through it all, the ups, the downs, had some troubles, had some tribulations, didn't let him define him, because he knew that even though he's not where he wants to be, he's not where he used to be, right? Even though he doesn't have that 6-figure job, he has the ability now to spend more time with his family, being with his wife, being with his daughter, being on his bike that he loves now, right? And that would have never happened if he made the decision to actually go towards financial freedom. So hopefully that helps. Guys, if you want to learn more about Shopify or passive income, there's a course on it in the description below. And make sure, if you want to hear the resources that he used to get the free resources on financial freedom, in the link below. And for everyone else, I'll see you guys at MikeVestil.com. See you later.